It was really a great honor and privilege to see His Excellency H.E. Peter Obi receive the prestigious Philosopher King of the Year award at the University of Oka today, and it was an amazing one. Anyway, the UNESCO actually hosts this alumni homecoming convention, and he was invited and an award was given to him. Here's the full highlight of the video. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment below.
Thank you very much. If I were not the Vice Chancellor, I would not have the temerity to present this award. My hands would have been shaking. But because I'm sitting in my domain where I'm also king, I can boldly present this award. This is the 2023 UNESCO Philosophy Day Alumni Homecoming Award, and it is termed the Philosopher King of the Year. And the award is presented to none other than His Excellency, the one that is excellent in deed and in word and in writing. His Excellency, Mr. Peter Obi.
What people know about him, the university gets diminished. My humble suggestion. Or the possible. If it's possible to have for the decade, then I joke on your Simba and mother there. Japan, UAE, and Israel. The widest part of Israel is 80 kilometers. Japan exports only one product. The role of philosophy in making man truly human. And finally, the eternal relevance of philosophy in determining the future of mankind. It is philosophy that has got us where we are. We read of Hitler. How many of us know the influence of the works of Nietzsche and Darwin on him that made him want to create the Superman? Philosophy, progress. Take the wrong philosophy, burial. Do we agree? So, let's see what we are dealing with. Let's even question our rationality in this hall. Imagine that you're walking down the road and you see a lovely signboard saying, there's job vacancy here. Next line, no qualification is required. Next line, no prior experience is needed. Next line, no proof of ability to perform is needed. Next line, you will not be paid any salary for this work. How much of the Bible or Quran do you understand? Are you sure that the interpretations you were given are correct? Are you? Finally, do you really believe in God? If you do, how come when you're under pressure, you go to a native doctor? You see, these are critical questions. So when you go jumping up and down and proclaiming yourself and speaking in tongues and threatening to go to heaven even before you die, relax. You are living on inherited beliefs, possibly the beliefs of your parents. You've had no chance to examine them. Your Christianity or Islam, Muslim, this thing is voiced religiosity, not spiritual conviction. This is the Department of Philosophy. This is where questions like this are raised. So if something as important as the beliefs that guide your daily life, you just picked it up based on what they're saying in your village. Take it easy. Then nutrition. What is your favorite food? For Anambra, for Odumodublvk, right? Among other things, okwa, fufu and co. So I ask you, what made you like and prefer this food item? Circumstance of birth and personal history. Do we agree? Do we agree? Okay, so do you know its nutritional value? The answer is no. Can you say for sure that it is good for your health? The answer is no. My friend Richard, his father passed at 66 when we were still much younger. You know that when you, I don't want to mention the part of Anambra, but they prepare the cassava without long fermentation and grind it. I'm sure you all know that. And it always retains a bit of the cyanide, which the water, the soaking was to have taken away. That's what the man ate all his life. So at 66, consistently, he was just getting weak. You know cyanide, if you want to kill somebody in 5 years, just put in tiny quantities. It will keep accumulating. Too much had accumulated for him to be healed. He died 7 months after the diagnosis. But he was eating the best food he knew on earth. Am I correct? Could that possibly apply to all of us? The answer is yes. So, was it circumstances that gave you your food choices rather than conscious, rational decision? The answer is yes. Am I correct? So, can we say that we have been irrational in deciding what to eat, drink, and live by? Can we say that? Can we say that we have been irrational? And remember, all the things I've mentioned are some of the most important decisions we've been taking in our lives. So when we speak of philosophy and critical thinking, it is not scholarship, it's not academics. It's life itself. And so, regarding your course of study even, why are you studying philosophy or any other course in the university at all? I hear it's the reigning course. My father wants me to study it. I'm in philosophy because I couldn't get law. Am I correct? That's why if you go to departments of philosophy all over the world, at least 80% of the students had no business with philosophy. True or false? So, but when they come, they say, we philosophers. Philogeny. Great minds. You don't compare your thinking with that of students from other departments to know that you're not studying philosophy at all, but the history of philosophical thought. You can tell me what Plato said. You can tell me what Aristotle said. You may agree or disagree with them, but you are not a philosopher. You're not philosophizing. You can write a fantastic book on how to survive when you're drowning, but you may not be a good swimmer. True or false? So, does a degree in academic philosophy make anyone a philosopher? Yes? Oh. Philosophers. What made Socrates a philosopher? Not a degree, am I correct? Not because he was walking around. He was asking questions about the meaning of life. Are we correct? Therefore, a mathematician can be the best philosopher in his environment. An engineer could be more philosophical than the wisest man in the community. Philosophy is a human disposition to seek knowledge and to act only when one is sure that what you're about to do is the right thing to do. That is different from reading what anybody wrote, repeating it, becoming the biggest. Otherwise, why would I have a PhD in ethics? Ethics is the science of morals, am I correct? And then, this my student, 5 of them to tell you how I slept with them before I passed them. Another 13 tell you how I collected money. Another people tell you how they helped me to repair my car. How come I could be an authority in ethics and my conduct shows zero commitment? The reason is simple. I've been a very effective tape recorder of ethical values. I can reproduce it and tell you what each philosopher said. I'm standing beside it. That's all. It doesn't affect my character. I wasn't seeking how to behave well, so I remain a great danger to any person who crosses my path. That's the point. Is it true that philosophers are trained thinkers and that thinking is the sole business of philosophy? The answer is no, because the business of thinking is in order to live well. True or false? So in Unizik, when I was teaching you, some, great minds, we are trained thinkers. Our business is to think, and thinking is the business of philosophy. I say, if your business is thinking, that means somebody else is providing food for you. You're on drugs. Your business is not thinking. Your business is to use your faculties and skills to survive. In the process, ensuring that your decisions and actions are right. Do we agree? So, who is a madman? A person who does not have total control of his faculties, am I correct? A person who makes uninformed decisions, is that correct? Uninformed, he comes, looks around, sees bread that's 3 days old, moldy, smelling, he takes it and eats. If he had knowledge and clear faculties, he wouldn't do that. Is that true? A person whose words and actions do not rest on rational grounds. Now, if from what we've been seeing in the last 7 or 10 minutes, some of the most important decisions affecting our lives and existence were not based on any rational grounds, is it possible to suspect all of us of madness? Mr. Vice Chancellor, Mr. Chairman, His Excellency, somebody who should tell him, I'm a bit concerned that you're keeping the company of mad people. The whole point of this part is to sober us up. You can't talk about the human of the future and what do you call, what's the full title? And the future of the human by sitting aside and discussing it as an academic enterprise. It isn't. My future, my present as a human being, my past as a human being, what kind of future is it going to take me into? In a virtual world, a world of artificial intelligence, a world in which students present projects with nobody vetted, and you read it, except you're a sound scholar, you will know, you say fantastic. The master's program we are running for the military, Master's in Strategic Management and Policy Studies, usually from the ranks of Brigadier General up, is a full master's program. The NDA brings in the policy component of it and research methodology. Somebody brought a project. I looked at it, I sent for him, sent for the other one, sent for the other woman. The woman came first. I said, Madam, we both know this is not your project. He said, as I know. This and that. I said, okay. This is not how you think. But since he says your project, take it, let's talk about it. He said, well, you know, I said, you know what? Talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, the future you're talking about doesn't belong to any of us. It's a future where we become what you might call visitors in an environment where technology is the indigene. So if you don't prepare well, you won't do well in it. So what can philosophy offer in a world like this? A philosopher seeks knowledge of first principles and foundations. Am I correct? I must know what is right under any circumstance, under every circumstance, and do it. The philosopher wants justification for holding a particular belief or taking an action. Is that true? Let's do this. He said no. Why? I think he's against the natural justice. He said, and all of that. What makes him a philosopher is that he takes only steps he's convinced about. Not based on how he feels. But having examined all things, he says this is the best option to follow. Socrates captured it thus. His Excellency mentioned it. The unexamined life is not worth living. Not the unexamined study. Not the unexamined playing of football. Life itself, which involves attention to environment, your interaction with other human beings, the values you accept, what you represent. When you don't examine all of them, you're not living for anything, because you may accomplish all your desires and your existence is futile. True or false? I can contest for office, show a CV, you have held this position and that position. In all of that, I've not had time to pay attention to my children, so I didn't really bring them up. I have no real friends. People I could feel like call, I say, oh boy, where are you? Madam, We haven't seen you for some time. Let's just chat. Until you've arrived at the peak of your accomplishment, you have a house probably bigger than Unizik, and you're inside it like a cockroach. And it's too late to do anything about your life. The unexamined life is not worth living. So, the exchange, Socrates had a discussion with Thrasymachus, for those of you who are familiar with his dialogues. Thrasymachus, yes. A happy man is a man who can have his way at all times. Get whatever he wants. If he has a case with you in court, he bribes them and deals with you. Socrates said, wrong. Only the man who has knowledge can truly be happy, because he will know what to avoid. Simple logic. I like ice cream as a 3-year-old boy. So if you are to give me 20,000, I keep to the ice cream. I'm happy as far as I'm concerned. I'm enjoying myself as far as I'm concerned. A knowledgeable person will know that it will only take about 6 or 7 hours before diarrhea sets in. So you start making arrangements to take me to the hospital. Now, most of those we consider rich and envy are like this little boy. You're carrying what is of no value to you, whatsoever. Why would I need 20 billion? No, tell me, I can pay my bills. Oh, you know, you can buy a house in in South Africa, and the UK, and the US, and you can have a private jet. Problem number one, if I have a private jet, I'll have 1 or 2 pilots. Is that true? Can they fall asleep? Can a BA pilot fall asleep? Never. Maintenance will be me. BA is maintained by the best in the world. So if that money is coming out of my nose, instead I'll buy the entire first class cabin. Since I can afford it, why do I keep a plane? I can charter. Do you get the wrong calculation? Okay, I have a house in London. I visit about 3 times in a year. Fantastic. When you get there, they begin to clean, isn't it? And you're spending 3 days. After all of that, the food will be made. You go to a 5-star hotel. You are treated like a prince. You have the best thing you want to eat. If it's not in that hotel, they will go to Asia and bring it. Headache, 0. And you're paying tenement. So you see, with that money, you complicate your life by picking up matters that don't concern you at all. And you cease to have authenticity. You exist for today, you don't belong to the future, because the future belongs to those who have the currency for the future. And the currency for the future is knowledge, versatility, global competitiveness. There's no place in the world where there are big men that people wait until they breathe. They get permission to breathe. Why don't we have secretaries anymore? There used to be schools of secretarial studies. Yes, you go there, you come out, you're secretary. So if I want to do anything, I write it, you type. I had it when I was on the Guardian editorial board. Tell somebody you study secretary, I want to become, the person will wonder what you're talking about. Is that true? Is that true? So also ask yourself, are there skills I have today? Is what I'm studying relevant for tomorrow? Revelation. The courses that will be in hot demand in the next 10, 15 years are counseling, philosophy, psychology, relationship management. Because technology is taking us away from everything human. And so we no longer know how to relate. Now we've also now got a virtual world where you can attend a meeting. You know you can attend a meeting without being fully dressed. Imagine yourself going for a meeting wearing only your jacket and tie. It's insanity. But you can wear that and sit on your table in front of your computer. If by some stroke of misfortune the camera goes down, you're on your own. Don't come in. You know, the same thing, well, the same example, Socrates and Crito. He said, look, people will say that we don't care about you if we don't do this. And he told him, Crito, you should only worry about what reasonable people have to say. So for those of you who are studying philosophy, you are now struggling to convince yourself that philosophy is wonderful. You say, oh, you know, when you finish, you can go into administration. It's consolation. I chose to study philosophy against every protest. And when they said, no, you won't, I said, well, I won't go to university. I want to understand life, the meaning of life. I am intelligent enough, I can go into business. No was still the answer. I applied for a job at FRCN. Got a letter of appointment, madam, you know, as trainee announcer. That's the entry. Because then my voice was better than this. It was the week I was to start work, that everybody backed down. My father said, come, what is all this debate about? Okay, he's going to study. My uncles had a view, some aunts. He said, good heavens, he's the one going to university. Is he not? What are we discussing? Please, this matter, if you're sure that's what you want to do, there's no further conversation on this. It's just that you take responsibility. And so, for my children, I don't tell you what to study. For my children, you finish secondary school, you're not going to university. You spend 1 year at home. You run the home. You go and learn a vocational skill. You work somewhere on minimum wage. 1 year will pass. And then, you will find a university. Process your papers, I will pay. If you're going to travel, I'll pay after you've got your ticket online. But all of us as parents, not paying attention to the quality of our humanity, and the humanity of the future is independent, knowledgeable, and spiritually sound humanity. Not the things you use as toys. Oh, do you know, sir, that my daughter has already got his master's degree, and he's just 17. That's not a human being, true or false? Can she run a home? Can she have a boyfriend? Can she have a proper relationship, except the way relationships are spelled out in paper? She's not been interacting fully with her humanity. And it's not fair to all these children. Because we are the ones who want to show off. Oh, your daughter is 18 and he's soon graduated? Okay, well, they'll laugh it out. Are we making human beings for the future? So, here, philosophy is not ultimate wisdom. Do we agree, students of philosophy? Do we agree? Are you sleeping? Do we agree that philosophy is not ultimate wisdom? The way you're answering, you don't sound wise. Huh? Mr. Vice Chancellor, 1 minute. Please, all of you on this row, stand up. It won't take more than 30 seconds. Quickly. See how long it's taking them to stand up. Are some of you pregnant? So face each other, choose a partner. Face your partner at once. Point at your partner. Tell your partner you're fond of sleeping in class. You are fond of sleeping in class. During last semester exams, as you were going to drop your paper, you fell down in the middle of the hall and fell asleep. Now let me warn you. If you must sleep in this conference today, I don't want you to snore in this hall. Sit down. So, philosophy is not even wisdom itself. It is only the love of it. To love and pursue something is not the same thing as to possess it. Am I correct? So when as philosophy students or teachers you say, we wise, you're not wise. You're in pursuit of it. If you say it's a lie, there's this girl in your class, you're eyeing her, you don't have the courage to approach her, you think about her, you talk about her with your friends, right? You love her. Can you then announce that she's your girlfriend? So when you love wisdom, you can announce that you possess wisdom. You are a seeker. So a lover of wisdom is circumspect. This makes every philosopher a seeker of knowledge, not possessor of knowledge. Makes every philosopher somebody who is unwilling, eternally determined not to accept untruth. To drop his own point of view if your own is correct. So when you meet some of what you see, like when I was teaching in Unilag, you know, you meet a degree of stubbornness, dogmatism, insistence on this is, I said this one, so you should stand. You know that these are teachers of history. Philosophy is how you live. It becomes manifest, you don't talk about it. So the written works of philosophers are just their personal conclusions. Is that true? Is that true? And they may be wrong. No philosophy is the word of God. Is that true? Is that true? So for the students, when you say, I am a Marxist, or you say, oh, I'm a Hegelian, do we have such students? Karl Marx was just one guy, right? He wrote a fantastic work. As a tool of political analysis, you can't fault historical materialism. You can agree with bits of it. But when you say you are totally beholden to this, you subsume your identity you lose authenticity, you diminish your chances to gain knowledge. That's not what's intended. So, I'll try to speed this up. So, university teaching does not make you a philosopher. See what Karl Popper said. As the realization overcame me that there was no true philosophy to be found in the universities, I felt that even he who was too weak to create his own philosophy had the right to hold forth about philosophy, to declare what it once was and what it could be. My fellow teachers of philosophy, you know, Karl Popper was a doctor, a practicing psychiatrist. He was in the medical field. He was brought and made a professor of philosophy. The same for Nietzsche. Nietzsche was a philologist living his life, and all of them were the best of professors of philosophy in their works. Bertrand Russell, professor of philosophy, professor of mathematics, one of the best in the world, who wrote Principia Mathematica. That's when polymaths dominated the academia. Today we are in silos. I'm an authority on optics. And when I pass, you say, oh, the man of knowledge, because I'm called professor, isn't it? Whereas, if you move out from the eye, I'm more ignorant than a vulcanizer. Is that true? So we mistake learning for knowledge and wisdom. And so when Wole Soyinka speaks on matters he doesn't understand, you say, no, he's a Nobel laureate. His Nobel laureate, did he come, is he given to him on matters of politics? So, as people in the academia, you should also know what not to take seriously. Now, must a philosophy student or teacher go about looking like Nebuchadnezzar? Oh, you know we are philosophers. You won't comb your hair. In any case, the hair you're not combing is, what are you producing? How many books have you written? You've done better than Plato. You wear your slippers, you don't know. That's not how it works. So, Plato was always appropriately dressed. Plato's father Ariston traced his descent to the king of Athens and the king of Messina. Plato was a prince, and it was him witnessing ignorant people kill the wisest man in Athens that made him say, no, without knowledge, one shouldn't go into leadership. That democracy is the worst form of government where 1,000 people can vote and kill the only person who has light. So, Plato's actual given name, I'm sure it will shock most philosophy students, is Aristocles. That's his real name. He's called Plato. The thing came from Platon. In one of the best Olympic athletes, he was also into wrestling. Broad shoulder, broad forehead, it was from that. Like you're in the stadium now. Who won in javelin? Oh, that broad-chested one. Who won in long jump? That's how he took his name. So first, a prince, aristocrat. Second, a great Olympic athlete. Third, remember today because of only knowledge. True or false? The human of the future can only have substance and credibility if that person keys into the knowledge that belongs to the future and which simultaneously addresses our humanity. We have examples. There are many people who played with Segun Odegbami in Green Eagles. Am I correct? Is Segun still active? He is very active across several fields, broadcasting, etc. Yadanechin. Pele. So when you rely on your physical beauty or strength as a young person, maybe as a girl, people are talking to you, they are toasting you, you're very proud. I won't talk to him. I know he will come back. He's talking about your body, isn't it? Isn't it? If there's nothing in your head, over time, the visa of that physical cloak will expire. If you choose to stay in that industry for 5 years, by then those who were calling you auntie before will have grown up. Am I correct? You begin to lose your customers to them. Am I correct? And then that's when you become born again and say that all have sinned and come short of the glory of heaven. So if you can see, okay, you can see it. I will show you the picture. Can some of you see this? The picture of, that's Plato. The aristocracy in Athens will tie this in and throw one over their shoulder. Isn't it? Like the Romans. You can't dress like that if you're going to the farm. That's Plato. So when you say you're studying philosophy and you go around looking like bad weather, this is Karl Popper. This is Martin Heidegger. This is Hegel. This is our Odumodublvk. Look at him. Can you see this one here? Fine, handsome man, well-dressed, always properly dressed according to existing standards. That's different from posing and flashing about. If it's only 2 clothes you have, they need to be clean, that's all. But show enough self-respect. Look at your vice chancellor. No, look at him. He said, Bam. The first time I met him was in Nibo, is that it? A youth program. I flew because I do a lot of, and that's the other strong point about P2B. We were doing a youth program in Anambra State. On our own, funding it, going from one place to the other. We'll call town union president, say, go and change these names. Then all registered unions in Anambra, religious, whatever, we ask for a specific number. Some town union presidents came on the side, we want to get involved. I said, do you see the age bracket? He said, yes. Looking at you, you're older than I am, and I'm 40-something. So how are you going to feed this? He said, they say, we can do it. We can write that my age is 38. And a question. That's the reality of our environment. So, meaning and dangers of incestuous scholarship. I gave my title as Incestuous Scholarship. Man, knowledge, and the man of the humanity of the future. What is incestuous scholarship? We all know the meaning of incest. Am I correct? When I write a paper, publish it in the departmental journal, one publication. I call my friends in Uniben to publish another one for me. After all, it's outside the university. That's incestuous scholarship. The student I taught who did on master, first degree, second degree, he's done a PhD. We made him to Xavier. He didn't go anywhere. He's now a lecturer. That's incestuous scholarship. So what you find is that you have close to zero exposure of the academic staff. And also you're unable, because the best graduating students are the seed material for. That's why you're told, in the area of university, I think it was Carl Jaspers, that the university gates are open to everybody, but its balls are meant to retain only the best. True or false? Only the best can do that. When you've never scored an A paper, that's why somebody can ask for money to pass you. He doesn't know what it means. That's how, as a lecturer, taking, I think it was advanced metaphysics, one of the students who was a lecturer in Ikoyi was caught cheating. A lecturer was caught cheating. And people were even coming to beg me. Oh, let's go to the dean. I said, I'm not going anywhere to the dean. This fellow doesn't belong here. He has to get out of my class. There's an alternative he can do. And that's what happened. Then I had a student who was also caught cheating, an undergraduate student, year 1. I still remember the name. Because it's recorded, I can't call it. This was one of the most active girls in class. She had 2 other friends. She was in English. The other 2 were in history. Then you had there about, some set of people. The other guy, Benga, he has Henry. How could this girl be cheating? So when she was caught and brought, I said, what's going on? She started crying. I said, no, don't cry. They said, well, let's quickly make incident, take her to the dean. I said, that will be after this exam. Go and sit down, give her paper. By then we had 45 minutes to the end of the 3-hour paper. Right. So I said, everything you know about this class, because if you're into drama, you know that the best way to get the best out of your actors, if you don't have time, you shout them into character. Don't do that. I want to see a king, not you, not Fred. And then something flashes out from. I said, not this, Nike. Come on. Look at these questions. Whatever you know about it, write it even if it's too light. She made a C. Then we went to the dean. Oh, how old was I? 28? Yeah, 27 going 28. A bachelor. Oh, she's a girl. So I said, I take responsibility. This girl will not be damaged because of me. If I make a formal report, she'll be invited to defend herself. She'll be forced to tell lies. What she needs to know is that she didn't have to cheat. That's what I've achieved. So we went to the dean, Professor Akere. I told him that I'm not writing any reports, sir. These are my reasons. We are here in loco parentis. He burst out laughing. He said, okay, Chukwu, do you realize you're just a boy? I said, yes, sir. Akere let it pass. Oh, why should I be stigmatized and all of that? So, against that background, you see, when learning does not bring new knowledge, when those who are teaching are regurgitating what has been in the place for the last 50 years, where the content in the department is all that's being recycled, instead of sending people out to bring in new juice, it is ancestral scholarship. And that's what's going on in many places. And that's something we have to watch out for. And that's what something the Department of Philosophy doesn't need. How do we gain knowledge? This thing I'm holding is a flower, right? Am I correct? Do you know why you're saying it's a flower? Because you've been told that it's a flower. Is that true? So if I didn't know what it was, it's just data before my consciousness. Right? I'm correct.